Hello, guys. Welcome back to this YouTube channel. My name is Jude. If you're a new subscriber, thank you so much for coming. If you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back. In today's video, we're talking about the contents of a good recommendation letter. We have been getting messages about the recommendation letter, and sometimes some people are not really aware of the importance of a recommendation letter when they have to do with their application package or application portfolio. Okay. Sometimes normally we usually tell our supervisors, our lecturers, and our bosses at our workplaces to write recommendation letters for us. And most times we don't really have a say over it on the contents of the recommendation letter. However, the reason why I'm doing this video is that you have an idea about the content of a good recommendation letter that will win you a scholarship. It's possible that some of the reasons why you have not been winning a scholarship is because you have a very poor recommendation letter from your referees. And in case you don't know, recommendation letter account for about 20% of your scholarship success, of your job success too. So the recommendation letter is very important. So it's important you understand the content of a good recommendation letter so that if your recommenders, peradventure, you are applying to a scholarship where you have to upload the recommendation letter yourself, you have an idea of the content of the recommendation letter so that if it doesn't follow that pattern, you'll be able to talk to your referee. The reason why you're given the opportunity to choose a referee yourself is so that you are going to get the best person who is going to do a very good job in recommending you to this organization. So if the person does a very bad job, it doesn't make sense. Okay. So it's important you as a candidate have an idea about how a good recommendation letter should be. So without wasting much of our time, let's get into the business of today. Okay, welcome back, guys. The first thing that will be in a good recommendation letter should be the introduction. Let the referee talk about himself and talk about the relationship he has or she has with you as the candidate. Okay, is he your supervisor in school? Is he a lecturer that taught you one of the courses in school? Or is he a professor? Is he the head of department? Or is he a boss or your boss at your place of work? Okay. Also mention the length of time in which your relationship with this person has lasted. Okay, make sure your referee writes these things on the introduction section. And also write that the reason for writing the letter is to recommend you to this organization. That is a very good introduction. Once you have done this, it sets the pace for the person who is reading this document to understand the relationship the referee has with the student and the length of time. Okay, if you have known someone for the past 5 years, the organization reading it knows that this person is in a better position to talk about this candidate. If you have known this person, if you have known this referee for the past 10 years, you also have an idea. So it gives a very good impression, a very good information about the relationship between the referee and the student. So please make sure you do this. Make sure your recommendation letter has this introduction. It's very important. If they read this introduction and it doesn't carry this two important information, they are less likely going to give you a full mark for the recommendation. In the second paragraph, talk about the academic achievement of the student. Okay, so make sure your own academic achievement as a student is there. If you are a first class graduate, it should be stated there. If you have a very good, strong CGPA, please state it there. If the person recommending you also taught you some courses as an undergraduate or in the postgraduate studies, please mention those courses there and then the grades too. So the lecturers should be aware. Sometimes these lecturers are very busy. Sometimes they are very busy with their own personal life. So they may not really have the time to do some of this job very well. So if they don't do it well, please remind them, sir, you taught me so and so course and I have so and so grade. You can show your transcripts to confirm your claim so that they can include it in this section. Okay. If the person is your supervisor that supervised your project during your undergraduate program, please mention the topic there. Also mention that the person is your supervisor, okay, and or your supervisee, depending on the relationship, okay. And then mention the topic in which you guys worked on. Is very important. So once they mention that the lecturer should also be able to talk about your research prowess at this point, how well you did your research project, and also the grade you got if the person is your research supervisor, the grade you got when you did your defense. The lecturer should also be able to talk about your presentation during the day of presentation. It has to be very personalized. The more personalized the letter is, the better. Okay, so the lecturer should be able to talk about your presentation on the day of presentation and your grade at the end of the day. Is very important. If it is your boss at your workplace, your boss should be able to talk about some of the tasks he or she has given you that you did very well, or some of the group work you have done and then you did very well. So they should talk about it at that point. The next thing is to talk about your extracurricular activities. There are a lot of extracurricular activities in school that or you may have participated in, maybe football, volleyball, table tennis, any of these extracurricular activities. Please let your referee talk about it. It also shows that you're a balanced student. You are not just socially awkward. You're not just into academics alone. You also have your social life. Okay, mention it there. Okay, tell the lecturer to write it. Tell your referee to talk about your extracurricular activities. If you're active in your religious places, maybe you are singing or you're taking up some of these positions in religious places, let them mention it there. Okay, it's very important. It shows your personality, and try as much as possible to personalize this information. Explain to your supervisor, explain to your referee, to give them more details because they can't work without the information you give them. Okay, most of the things they will write is based on, maybe if you is your referee in school or your lecturer in school, they will talk about your class participations. Okay, and so talk about your extracurricular activities such as the football, departmental matches and all that you participated in. But if there are other aspects of you that the lecturer may not be aware of, okay, it's your duty to actually inform them and show them evidence. It's very important. Show them evidence so that it will collaborate their story. It's very important. Another important aspect of the recommendation letter is your personal qualities, such as your leadership, your interpersonal skills, your communication skills. Mention them there. Okay, tell your referee about it. If you have qualifications such as the IELTS, TOEFL, tell your referee about it. Your referee sees your result, he or she will have to write about it. Your a personal skills and leadership position. If there are specific examples or scenarios where you held leadership positions, maybe as a course rep, maybe as the assistant course representative, students union government, whatever capacity in which you have held a leadership position, your referee should be able to vouch for it, be able to vouch for you on this. Okay, write about it there, and how well you handled the position, and also how well you handled your communication with your classmates, with your peer group, as well as with your work colleagues. Okay, these are the places where they will talk about how good you are as an individual relating with others. If there are situations too where you have done things, okay, where you have gone above and beyond to actually achieve some goals within a group, within a team, please let your supervisor, let your referee mention it. Okay, any outstanding position, any outstanding work you have done as a group or as an individual, or maybe he or she has given you a task and you completed it very well, it can be any form of task. Please make sure he writes it down there, make sure he puts it in your recommendation letter. It gives a whole picture of who you are and tells a very good story of your personality. Also, remember that if you do not have IELTS or TOEFL results or any of these standardized English proficiency examinations results, okay, what you can do is your lecturer should be able to vouch, or your referee should be able to vouch that you can speak English comfortably, you can understand English, you can write in English language, and thereabouts. Okay, just mention these things in your referee need to vouch for you on this issue. You need to be able to give a testimony that you are very good in communication. Okay, it's very important. They should mention it. It should be in your recommendation letter. Another thing you should also consider is if you have done a research work with this supervisor or with this referee, maybe you guys have published a paper together. Please make sure that this lecturer mentions that in your recommendation letter. Okay, and mention the impact of the paper. If peradventure you have not done any research work with this lecturer or this referee, you can as well inform the lecturer or the referee about your publications if you have any. Okay, so that they will be able to mention it, because if you have a publication, of course, it's a public information. Okay, so your referee should be able to confirm that you have a publication, and they should be able to mention it as part of your research skills that you have, as a testament to your ability to conduct a group and independent research. Remember that your referee is someone that is very close to you. You don't just give your reference letter to anybody you see. Okay, so you have to discuss your future career prospects with your referee. Your referee needs to understand your future career prospects, what you hope to achieve in the next couple of years, in the next 2 years, in the next 5 years, in the next 10 years, in the next 20 years, as the case may be. Okay, discuss this with your referee so that your referee will be able to pen it down into his recommendation letter for you. Okay, because your referee needs to understand very well your career prospect, what you need to do, what you have to do, and what you intend doing in future. So make sure this information is on your recommendation letter. Now, the closing part of your recommendation letter should have a very strong statement by the referee recommending you to this organization. Please, and in this section, mention the name of the organization. If it is Commonwealth Scholarship, mention Commonwealth Scholarship. If it is Chevening Scholarship, mention Chevening Scholarship, admission board or scholarship board. Mention the name. So mention and let the referee state vehemently in capital letters or in bolded letters, okay, that I recommend you mention your name to this organization for this position or for this scholarship. It's very important to have such a very strong closing remark. Also, make sure that your letter has the contact detail of the referee, the email address, as well as the phone number. Sometimes you can omit the phone number, but make sure that the email address is there. Institutional email address is preferred, please. Don't use the personalized email address, please. Institutional email address is the best for recommendation letters, okay? It also shows the credibility of the referee, and it also shows the credibility of your application. Using personalized emails such as Gmail and Yahoo Mail is not the best for recommendation letter. Also, your referee should be able to state towards the end of your recommendation letter that if there is need for further information or further, verifications of some of these claims, that they should be able to contact him or her, okay, through the email provided. This also reassures the educational committee or the selecting committee that you are very much available to respond to any other query about this candidate. Please make sure your referee put this information there. Another thing you should also have in mind is that the letter of recommendation, sometimes most organizations don't tell you the number of pages it should be or the word count, okay? They usually leave it open. So if you can write up to 2 pages or 3 pages of recommendation letter, please do. But if the institution or the program is telling you, please make sure your recommendation letter is within a particular word limit or a particular number of pages, please stick to it. Try as much as possible to relay this information to your referee ahead of time so that he or she will write within the context of the instruction that was given. Another thing you should also do is make sure that your recommendation letter is written on a letterheaded paper. Yes, the letterheaded paper of the referee's institution is very important. And also encourage the referee to sign. It is important that the referee signs at the bottom of the recommendation letter. It also increases the credibility of your recommendation letter. Please don't forget. Once referees don't sign on their letters, it actually does not give a good impression of your recommendation. Please encourage them to sign. It can be an electronic signature. It can as well be a manual signature. Okay. So guys, we are coming to the end of this video. Okay. Something else you should know is that make sure you try as much as possible to personalize your recommendation letter, one for each university or for each program you're applying. The more personalized your recommendation letter is, the better. Okay, if you have access to your referee easily, please write a new one, address it to the institution you're applying to. Okay, but if you don't have access to them very often, or it is quite difficult to access them because of their own work schedule, okay, please write a generic recommendation letter where you don't mention the name of any institution inside. That's just the difference. Okay, you don't mention the name of any institution, and then you don't put an address at the top of your recommendation letter. Okay, so with this you'll be able to have a very good document to apply and also have a very good package for your admission process and your scholarship process. Okay, thank you very much for staying to the end of this video. I beg you, please like this video. Please subscribe to our channel if you have not. Please, Okay, and drop a comment on the comment section. It can be a question, I will definitely respond. It can as well be a compliment. It really do our channel very well. Thank you so much for supporting our work. Until we see you next time, remain healthy, remain fine, and keep chasing that your dream. Okay, bye.